everybody. Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. Let's talk about this touchy subject. Would you allow your partner to discipline your children? Would you allow your partner to discipline your children? What do you think about that? Now, I do know women who do it. They get a boyfriend, and in their minds, he's the man of the house. He might be paying the bills for the house and all of that. And so women just give all the power to him. And when it comes to kids, most times these are not his kids, they're your kids. You allow the man to come in and discipline them. If he comes from an environment where they strike the kids, that's what he's going to do to your kids. I don't think it's right. I don't think you women should allow men to come in and do that because they're not his kids. And his parenting style may be a lot different than yours. And he could actually damage your kids. We hear a lot of news where men go in and kill the kids. They're not his kids. Sometimes he doesn't even like kids, much less your kids. But because you're sleeping with him and laying up with him, you want him to feel like he's in charge, the man of the house. You want him to pay the bills and all of that, take care of you. So let him do whatever he wants to do to you or the kids. Ladies, don't do that. Don't ever put yourself in a position that you feel like you need to do that. Now, I've heard a man say that if I come in there and I'm paying everything for everybody, feeding everybody, you darn right I'm going to discipline those kids. Those are not your kids. No, not at all. And ladies, be very careful about trusting another man around your kids. Some men are good men, but, I think they're few and far between. Because in my life, maybe I can count on one hand the men I consider to be good, decent men. And these are men maybe that raised you, and that they're good men, and how they discipline children, and it's okay with you. That they won't harm your children psychologically, emotionally, or physically. And you trust them? All right, that is your choice. But just to have a boyfriend that you've known a couple of months or whatever, or a couple of years, you allow him to be around your kids. He comes in, your kids say something, and now he's got something to say about it. No. And I don't care if he's spent money on those kids. He still has no right to discipline the kids. Now look at this. I know some kids who have been damaged by being disciplined from a stepfather. Somebody that you have married. And all of a sudden now, because he's the man of the house, there he is going to set the rules for your kids. And some of these men, they just feel like, I'm the man of the house. I'm going to set the rules for everybody. Everybody's got to go by these rules. Now, your kids, they may not be babies. They may be walking around talking, going to school, and all of a sudden this man comes in here out of nowhere telling them what to do. Some of these men are physical with your kids. Some of them are emotionally abusive with your kids. And some of them are even sexually abusive with your kids. Ladies, you got to be very careful. I say no. The men that I dated in my life, I told them right up front, if my kids are small, do not touch my kids. Don't say nothing to them. Other than hello, how you doing or whatever. That's it. You got nothing to say about me and my kids. That's a boundary that I set when I started dating a man. They're not coming in and say nothing about my kids. It will be over quicker than you can blink. You see? But like I said, I've seen some women, the boyfriend comes in. Now, some of you will probably disagree because, who knows? Maybe you were raised like that. Maybe another man came in there and disciplined you. You see? If you did, it could be a generational thing that needs to be broken. Ladies, if you love your kids, and I hope you do, protect them. Don't just let any man who's not their natural father come in there to discipline your children. Now, even if it's their natural father, he's going to have something to say. You wouldn't want him to come in and abuse them in any way. But some outside man, I say no. Don't do it. It's not worth it because you could be damaging your kids for the rest of their lives. And you don't want that. So love yourself, protect yourself, and watch these men. Don't leave them alone with your kids either. You see? They could do things with your kids and then tell your kids, you better not tell it. Things like that. Don't leave men to babysit your children. We hear horror stories about that every day. Don't do it. Not even if you feel like you need to go to the store and you want to leave this man with your child. Don't do it. Even if you think that you know him. Even if you've known him for a while. I wouldn't do it. Unless that kid was a teenager or something like that, I would not trust him around my kid. At least a teenager can fight back or tell you something. Or if you came back and you could feel in the atmosphere something, you can find out what was going on if it's a teenager. But if it's little kids, they're defenseless against these predators. Now, I know of a story of this young woman who divorced her first husband. I think she had maybe 1 or 2 kids by the first husband. And when she divorced, then she remarried. It wasn't long after the divorce that she remarried. But when she remarried, the new man wanted his own baby. So she got pregnant and had his baby. Now, he wants to care for his baby, but he kind of shuns the kids that she had already. And he mistreats them. So what happens in that scenario? The kids that he shunned, they grow up with issues. They feel like their mother never protected them against this man. You brought this man into me and he did whatever he wanted to do to me, mistreat me. He favored his own kid. He shunned me out. And you, as my mother, never protected me. So they grow up with that resentment of the mother for letting this kind of thing happen. You don't want to damage your kids like that, ladies. Look at this situation. You don't know this man like that. Don't allow him to come in there discipline your kids. And see, another thing is because you don't really know their true intention when it comes to you or your kids. I hope that you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps someone. Now, those of you who may have a question, my email address is in the description. I want to thank you so much for your comments and your letters, and a very special thank you to those that leave a donation. I really appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best, and I really hope to see you next time.